everyone. It's Geralyn St Joseph here. We are just before the new year. If you're catching this later than that, that's okay too. I just found some of my older decks and I figured we could play a little bit and look to see what is it that we most need to know for the new year and what is it that we have to look forward to. I don't know about you, but 2024 has been quite a stinker for me. Part of it was really good, but most of it was really difficult. And I feel like a lot of people have gone through that this year, especially with everything having to do with so many people leaving the planet and so many different things happening that affected us financially and emotionally and spiritually. So now is the time for us to kind of take stock of what happened during this year, put it to rest if it needs to be put to rest, take whatever lessons we're going to take with us, and then move into the new year. Some of the really cool decks that I have is my Attitude Adjustments deck. And I don't know if I should have flipped the screen, but that's okay. So the Attitude Adjustments deck is a deck from, I got this in 1999. So this is an older deck. I don't know if it's still available for sale, but it's a really cool little deck. And it is by Sonia Cafe and Naidi Ineko. And I hope I pronounced those properly. Anyhow, this deck is really cool for resetting your intentions, and also if you're having a hard day or you're trying to break out of a rut. It's a really good deck for that because it gives you suggestions and tips as to how to move away from whatever it is that you want to move away from. I am going to move this so that I have more room on my desk. And so the back of the cards look like this, which are really cool, and they're really cute cards. I'm kind of crazy about. I don't like my cards being up and down. You know, they all have to be heading the same way. So we'll pick a couple of these and see what it says would be a good thing for us to be thinking about and doing as we move into the new year. Again, this is Attitude Adjustments. So it's a little bit of a reading, but not so much of a psychic reading as we're going to get into later with some of the other decks that I'm going to be playing with. Okay, so the key word is love. So as we move into the new year, the word that we want to meditate on is love. And it says, today I'm going to be more loving. As we move forward and things are changing, we want to move forward in a way that is uplifting to us and uplifting to those around us so that we can make the most of this lifetime. And I think that's something that a lot of us forget to do. We spend so much time trying to pay the bills and get this or that or have this or that done that we end up really wasting time and not using it to the best of our abilities to be able to do that. Name a car for edit. Okay, well, this is the first time I'm doing the live with the long screen like this. I usually do it on my full computer, so it's easier for me to read things and everything like that. So, monkey, I don't know if there's anything besides that. Okay, so being loving is something as we move forward, which is going to be really important, and to really generate that feeling and a name a car, Miss G, name a car. Okay. Can I say Macy? I could say Macy. Name a car. I'll say Honda Fit. And his name is the TARDIS. That's what we call him. Okay, I named a car. Is that what you mean? Like name a car as in a kind of car? My favorite is the Honda Fit. Other than that, I don't know what I love Subarus. Hello, Macy. Okay. So the second card that we get so far as moving into the new year, the energy we want to bring with us is enthusiasm. And what is enthusiasm? Enthusiasm means to be filled with spirit or to be filled with God. And it is also along the same lines as love. Oh, thank you, Macy, for subscribing. And what happens is that when we allow ourselves to lift ourselves up that way and to feel that kind of energy, what we do is we embrace everything around us and we affect everything around us in a positive way. So we want to move into the new year. We want to get rid of the negativity, stop all the fear mongering. If someone is trying to fear monger around you, if it's something that really piques your curiosity or something you're really worried about, then do your research and see what it really is. Make sure you're not doing that research on Google, though, because Google kind of just shows you what you want to see, and they see what you've seen before, and they'll just give you the same thing. You want to go on a different kind of a browser so that you get a completely different setup. You also want to do more time listening than you do speaking. And the reason for this is because we're coming out of a period of time where people have really felt the necessity to emote and talk over one another or try to push a certain way of speaking. So what we need to do is make sure that we're not doing that. We want to make sure that what we're doing is we're listening, and we're listening not so that we're formulating our response. We want to listen. When you're really listening, it takes you a moment to take in what the other person said and then give a response. And that response may be a question, a clarifying question, or something like that, which is better communication than if we're just listening to respond. We're just looking for keywords that we're going to jump on, and then we're going to go into it. That's not real listening. Okay. So that was the attitude adjustments. So what I'm doing right now is I'm letting you guys know basics of going into the next year, what we need to get rid of, what we need to bring forward. So 2025 is a 9 year, and 9 is generally about completion. It's about finishing things, making sure things are whole, making sure things are complete. 2025 is going to be a year of, there is going to be a lot of innovation, I feel, and there are going to be a lot of changes. So be ready for that. The more we resist the changes that are coming, the worse it's going to feel, and the more difficult it is going to be to get through the year. Just like this year was really tough, difficult for a lot of people. 2025 will be also, if you don't commit to change. And what we want to do is we want to direct our changes so that we're not just floating along with the crowd, just like following everybody else. Because when we do that, what ends up happening is that we just end up unhappy, confused, not knowing what's going on. And it's not conducive to us really finding our greatest good and really living our best lives. And 2025 it's a whole restructuring. It's a restructuring for the entire planet, it feels like to me. And not all of it is going to be easy. Not all of it is going to be pretty. But if we walk into this new year with a set idea of things that we want to accomplish, have a road that you're taking. Know what you want to accomplish. And I'm not talking about having a New Year's resolutions. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about putting yourself at this time next year. What do you want to look back on? What is it that you have accomplished? What is it that you want to have done? You know, what are your what are you aiming for? When we're not aiming for anything, then we end up just, going all over the place and not really accomplishing much. Because when you're just floating down the river, it's not the same as going down the river in a canoe, and like you're getting somewhere and you're maneuvering the canoe and being able to see different things and stop on different places. If you're just on like an inner tube and you're just going lazily down the river, it's wherever the river takes you. So you might end up in the rapids and not be able to do anything about it. You don't want to do that. Okay. So my second deck that I found, my Angel Heart Sigils, and that is by Stuart Pearce, author of The Angels of Atlantis, and it's illustrated by Richard Crooks. Let's see how pretty. This definitely attracted me. A friend of mine bought it for me very nicely, my friend Terry. What attracted me about this is I love the green. Green is about creativity, it's about life and hope, and it's about moving forward and healing and growth. So, green is like an awesome color, as you know. And then the Eye of Horus, on my original logo, I always had the Eye of Horus. I am fascinated by it and all the sacred geometry that's within that symbol and everything that it encompasses. It encompasses so much, and people don't realize it's not just a symbol of protection. There's so much more in it. So that's why I was attracted to this particular deck. All right, let's see what this deck has to tell us. And then once I go through a couple of these decks, if anybody has a question they want me to answer, remember this is being recorded and we are, it's not private. I mean, you know that, but sometimes you have to remember that, because I have had people ask me some very specific, very private questions. Those are for a private reading. Those are not good for this kind of a thing where I'm only going to give a quick overview. I don't like to leave people feeling like they don't have the guidance they need. So when I do a full reading, as you can tell, I speak very quickly. So you get a lot in a short amount of time. But when I get a full reading, then I could really go into whatever the person needs and be able to show you that. And then you can ask questions and that kind of thing. Whereas here, it's basically a basic question. All right, so next year, what are some of the things we need to look at and remember? So we have two things. We have Haniel, and Haniel is about innocence, at least this rendition of the card is. So when we look at these colors, we look at the red and we look at the white, we look at the woman, and she looks like Mother Mary with the lamb and with baby Jesus, or you can imagine that as being something else. But this symbol is basically purity. It's having a very high vibration. It's really having a deep knowledge of who you are. Because when you're innocent, there's nothing that is trying to pull you off your path. And there's nothing that is grabbing your attention in a different way. Like, you have not been sullied by the world yet. You still have faith and the belief that things are getting better. So when we look at this and we see the juxtaposition of the red, the bright red, and the white, we see a little bit of pink. So red is about being alive. It's about our root chakra, and it's about really hunkering down and getting down into the depths of who we are and really embracing that. Embracing who we are at our core. Figuring out who it is that we are at our core, because that's really important, especially as time goes on. You need to figure out who you really are and what it is, what mark do you want to leave on the world as you move forward, as you go through it. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a Nobel Prize winner, but it could mean that you help the people when you see they need help. It could be that you're the person who has a really good ear. You listen to people and they they get to speak to you and they don't fear rejection, or they don't fear that you're going to judge them. That is a very, very powerful gift to bring to the world, is listening, actually listening to people, because it's something that happens so seldom. So many people listen in order to respond or react, as opposed to really listening to take in and to understand what the other person is saying. And that's something I feel we all need to work on in the coming year and so. Then the second card from this deck that we got was Archangel Michael. Most people know know Michael. Michael is about protection and strength, and Michael is about faith. So Michael is one of the very strong archangels, and his dominion is protection. His dominion is to protect those around us. Michael is a really good archangel when you're feeling lost or frightened, or if you're having anxiety of any kind. Michael is a good angel to call upon, because his purpose is to help us through those kinds of periods of time. It's to help us through, to have faith, so that we are no longer anxious. Anxiety is wasting our lives worrying about a future that may not come. So in the new year, one of the things that I feel we're being told is that we really need to practice being present, and really need to look at what it is that we want to have happen this year. And look at what's really going on around us. Stop listening to everybody else and just really look at what is happening around you. Really look. Use your brain. And enjoy using your brain. Enjoy asking questions. Enjoy starting the conversations. I think one of the things that has been missing in the last several years has been that there's no communication. There's no getting to really know one another. And again, I keep getting the listening is a big thing. That's what Spirit keeps saying to me. It's about listening. It's about listening. It's about listening. Hi, Augie. What's up? All right. So the next deck that we're going to look at is the Soul Coaching deck. And that is by Denise Lynn. She has some really interesting decks, Denise Lynn. I think I have a few of hers. So we're going to ask, like, what is it that we most need to know? What is it that Spirit wants us to really consider as we move forward? So I'm going to shuffle these as best I can. I'm not really good at shuffling. You'd think I would be. I mean, I've been doing this since I was in grade school, but I still don't shuffle very well. It's okay. You know, we each have our talents or lack thereof, you know. So let's see. What do we most need to know? All right. Okay. So in the beginning, the first one that we read was about love and carrying love forward and really finding love in our hearts for everything around us. Just because you love somebody or something doesn't mean you want to have dinner with them or that you want them in your living room. You can love someone from a distance. And what that means is that you're not doing anything to intentionally hurt them, and that you want what's best for them, like you will pray for them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sacrifice yourself for them. And I think that's where people get things confused. So this card is about embracing. And this says, I embrace and love all of my life. And this is an adage that we really need to start thinking about, because so many of us have been running around just worrying about paying the bills, eating food, things like that. Survival. Everybody's in survival mode. And we need to shift out of that and into more of an acceptance. An acceptance of who we are, what we bring to the table, what we need versus what we want. And really getting deep down into knowing ourselves. So the second card that came up was acceptance. And it says, I unconditionally accept, cherish, and love myself just as I am. Now, when we say that, does that mean that you're not going to take any steps to become a better person, or you're perfect just the way you are and that nothing should change? No, that is not what it means at all. It means accepting where you are and who you are right now. And if you choose to move forward and become a better person and to do things in a different way, then you move forward and you do that. But you're not doing that out of self-loathing. Self-loathing is something that we really need to move out of our psyches and move out of our communities, basically, because there's so much of that, and so much of that fear, and that not fear of not being accepted. So other people are not going to accept you for who you really are if you are inauthentic. So if you're always following the crowd and trying to figure out what everybody else wants, who everybody else wants you to be, as opposed to going deep and figuring out who you are, then you will never be truly accepted, because whatever that facade is that people may like, or that you might be saying just to be able to fit in with a crowd, that is not who you are. And deep inside, you know that. And deep inside, they know that, because when someone is not authentic, or actually the flip side, when somebody is truly authentic, you feel it. You can see it. And some people, it makes them really angry when they see people who are really authentic, because that authenticity pushes their buttons to be more authentic. And what is authenticity? I mean, we talk about it a lot. Authenticity is being true to yourself. So that means if you're in a conversation and everybody is talking about whatever the latest and greatest is, and you know that that is not something that you should be participating in, or that's not something that's really safe. Here's a good example. If everybody is smoking weed or something like that, everybody's doing something that you're not really that comfortable with, but everybody's doing it and you're getting a little bit of pressure. To be truly authentic, there's no pressure there, because you know how you feel and what you want to do. So when you're authentic, you love yourself enough to be willing to give up the acceptance or the other people like saying how great you are. It's all right. It doesn't matter what their opinion is. It's none of your business what their opinion is. I love that line. It's none of your business what everybody else's opinion is of you. But also, you love yourself enough that you're going to hold to your values and your standards, and not sink into somebody else's thoughts, or somebody else's, I want to say, like vices. Because usually that's what it comes down to. And sometimes people are espousing these ideas that are so off the cuff, and you feel like that's not right. That's not right. But you don't say anything, and you just sit there and shake your head. But staying silent and shaking your head, it makes you feel icky. If you think about it, like, that really doesn't make you feel good inside. Now, if you feel like you can't speak out because you'll be attacked or whatever else is going on, that's fine. Leave the situation. Or don't say anything, but don't shake your head yes. And don't give the impression that you agree. Because I'll tell you that a lot of times there are several people who feel the way you do, and you need that one person to have the courage to stand up and be authentic. And authenticity is a very, very powerful thing. And I feel like that's something that people don't give as much credence to. So, all right. And here we have Angel Secrets cards. And this is Jackie Newcomb. And she apparently was called the Angel Lady. So let's see. How to use the cards for daily inspiration. I haven't really handled these cards in a really long time, but I do remember that they're very beautiful. So let's see what they say. What direction should we go? And then as I move forward, if one of you has a question or a comment, let me know. Okay, so here we go. Your angels are helping you to take care of your physical body. One of the things as we move forward, I know I keep saying one of the things, one of the many things as we move forward is we need to remember to take care of ourselves, our physical body, as well as our emotional, mental body, etc. Oftentimes we get so caught up in what is happening around us and so caught up in making money and making a living, we're in survival mode, that we forget to take the time to take care of us and make sure that we're okay. And it's a very important thing to do that, because if our vessel is wanting or if it's deteriorating, then it's more difficult for our spirit to shine through. Not impossible, but it's more difficult. And oftentimes we do go through hard times, and that strengthens our resolve. It helps us build resilience. And if we remember as we go through those hard times to really fill ourselves with light and allow ourselves to move forward, we are much better off than if we allow that to pull us down and we just sink into it. You'll notice with chronic illnesses, and I have my own chronic issues, we'll say, the more you think about it, the worse it feels. The more you try to track everything and figure out where is this coming from and what is this and what is that, the more you focus on it, the bigger it gets, because it's like any other energetic. What you focus on is what you are pulling to yourself. Whatever you're focusing on, that's what you're feeding. Don't feed fear. Don't feed uncertainty. And do not feed your pain. The more we talk about it, the more we focus on it, the bigger it gets, the heavier it gets, the harder it is to get out from under it. So to redirect ourselves into looking at different things, or become very in the now and talk about our presence, you look around, oh, there's a pretty tree, there's a flower, I'm going to smell the flower, what does the sun feel like on my skin? And you look at those things and you bring those things into yourself, things that are more pleasant, then you will start to feel better. I'm not saying it's going to cure you, but it does make the day easier to get through. And I have been a chronic pain sufferer since I was 19, and a drunk driver hit me head on in a car accident. So my body in a lot of ways has healed much better, and I've gotten much further than I was told I could ever get. But by the same token, there are days where I feel like I just got drug underneath a truck, and it's not very pleasant. But as long as I'm not focusing on that and feeding into that, I can pull myself up and out. The pain is still there. It's just not as front and center. It's not so heavy that I can't deal with it. Okay. So let's see what else the angel lady has to say. Angel secrets cards is what these are called. All right. What is it we most need to know? When you help us, you will feel the joy that we feel when we help you. So this is important. There's this reciprocation that needs to happen. There's always an energy exchange with whatever you're doing, whatever you're asking for, whoever you're dealing with, whether it be spiritual or physical or otherwise. And what this makes me think of right away is there are so many people that I know who like to give and give and give. And then if somebody tries to give to them, they're like, oh, no, no, I can't. I can't accept that. I can't accept a gift from you. But they get insulted if you don't accept a gift from them. And that kind of thinking is kind of skewed. There's this sense of feeling undeserving is a big part of it. And also feeling like it makes them feel good when they're doing for others, but they don't want other people to do for them because they feel like they don't deserve it, or they want to say that they don't need it. And the way I explain that to my clients is I say, you know, why is it that you're not willing to allow somebody else to feel as good as you do when you give them something? You're taking that away from them. I said, that's really selfish. And it flips a switch because they're thinking receiving is selfish. Receiving is not selfish. It is not selfish at all because things need to be reciprocated. And people feel much better when things are reciprocated than if there's no exchange, if it's just all one-sided. You know, and then the other thing that happens is that some people, they will create that in their life with all these different people, and then they're like, well, I don't understand why nobody's helping me. Yo, Michael, hey, nice to see you. So doing that is flipping the equal exchange on its arse, you know, and it's really not fair. It becomes resentment. And it's not a resentment that has a place because you've created that. And we need to take responsibility when we do these things. So, all right, let's see who else we have here. I love that I found these. You have no idea. So, and these are some of my older decks. So I actually have a Doreen Virtue deck, Healing with the Angels. I had the original deck, and I don't know what happened to it, whether I lost it or I gave it to somebody. I give a lot of my stuff away. And I was thinking about it, and then a friend of mine passed. She was an amazing woman, and like we used to play with these decks and stuff together. She was an incredible Reiki master. And her daughter called me and offered me her deck. So that's how I got my second deck of these cards, because they're not there anymore. But let's see what the Healing with the Angels has to do. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. We are talking about what we need to carry forward into 2025 and what to expect to a certain extent. So far, we're basically talking about what we need to do as individuals and as people, basically, as a community, to be able to make the most of 2025, because I feel like it's going to be a huge transitional year. And it's going to be a year of endings and beginnings. So it's going to be a year where there's a lot of completion of things. You're going to find that you have relationships that fade away, even ones that you've had for a really long time that just suddenly aren't there anymore. And I also feel like you're going to start new, very strong relationships with people who match your vibration better. I also feel like a lot of us are going to come across people we haven't seen in decades, if you're that old, or years, if you're not that old. People who maybe were important to us once before, or maybe we were important to them and didn't realize it. And they're going to come back into our lives. So these are things to look forward to. All right, let's see. Spirit. Oh, you gave me 3. Okay. Oh, okay. Awesome. So the 3 that Spirit is showing us is we have spiritual growth, which is, again, something that we've been talking about. Spiritual growth, actually, a lot of times it really centers around the heart, because the heart is where we take in light, and where when we are in love, when we are loving, it just lightens our entire body and our entire field. and it creates a completely different energy, and it's a very masterful, very creative energy. So if we can feed that as opposed to feeding fear or apathy or depression or any of that stuff, to feed the love and allow ourselves to really feel it. You could love somebody, like I said, and not want them in your living room. That is perfectly okay. And my belief and my experience is that being loving is what really sets off your spiritual growth. That's what really helps you. You just start seeing the world differently when you're really filled with that energy all the time. When your undercurrent can be joy instead of being fear or being survival and things like that. And that's one of the things I like to teach people in my self-empowerment courses. And I'm also doing mentoring. I'm going to take a handful of people that I will do mentoring with, and we'll get together once a week or once a month, depending on what the person wants to do. And I'll help you get where you want to go, wherever that is. Um, so spiritual growth. And if we look at this now, looking at it through here, when I see this part in the bottom, it reminds me of the serpent. I don't know. I'm Catholic, so I have a lot of iconology in my head. So there's one statue that you see in most churches of Mary, and she's on the world, and then there's a serpent, and she's got her foot on the serpent. So it's like she is protecting the world from evil or from that negativity. And that's what this reminds me of. As soon as I saw that, was the first thing that sprang to mind was having that essence of being loving and honoring and keeping the negativity and keeping the lower base vibrations, thoughts, actions at bay, so that then you can rise, and the people who are attached to you and the people who are around you, people who get to experience you, will also experience that. And then they can also rise. So that is really important. So spiritual growth is going to be really important. And I do feel like, I know we've been talking for several years about 5D, and we're moving into this other dimension, and some people are staying behind and other people are moving up, and blah 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 blah. Well, if you want to raise your vibration so that you can be on a different dimensional footing, I don't even know how to explain it, because some people think it's like the rapture, where all of a sudden some of us won't be here, you won't see us, and then other people will still be here. I don't know that I see it that way as much, but I do feel like vibrationally we're coming further and further apart. So you have the people who are really into fear. They want things to be fearful. They want to, everybody's evil, everybody's bad. And if you don't follow exactly what I tell you to do, then you're bad too, and it's like that kind of, I want to say spiritual pride, but it's not even spiritual pride. It's more secular in what it is, but they're very, very base. So everything is about the physical. Everything is about now, and everything is about, needing everybody to follow their lead. Otherwise, they're not happy. And then you have the other people who are moving completely away from that, and we refuse to delve into the fear. Now, that doesn't mean that things don't concern, or that you don't think about things, or that the fear doesn't hit you every once in a while, but it's not feeding it. It's not going into it and being like, oh, like I have a lot of people ask me about the drones. And the way I feel them, I feel like, yes, the government knows what they are. I feel like it's a mixture of things. I don't feel like it's just one thing. I don't believe that they are looking for something that they said they were looking for. Uh, I do feel like they are watching, and like they're there to see how people react. And they're there to try and instill fear and instill like a sense of uncertainty. And I feel like there's a possibility that they might be used. It's not even a possibility. They're being used to manipulate. And that'll come clearer as time goes on, because one of the things that's happening this year that's so exciting is that we have come into a time where things cannot be hidden for very long. You can only lie so much and then it's going to come out. And being in America, a lot of the things that I think about are things like things that happened during the election, where they caught so many people trying to rig things, but they got caught and they're out in the open. It's not like before when you could hide things. And even like there's so many things that have come out towards the end of this year that prove that a lot of the things that people were thinking years ago that they got slammed for and they were told they weren't allowed to think that now it's coming out that a lot of that stuff really did happen and really is true. So keep your eyes open, be aware of what's happening around you, but do not feed the fear, because feeding the fear gets you nowhere. All it does is it sinks your energy, it makes you weak, it makes you more susceptible to getting sick physically as well as mentally and emotionally, and nobody needs that. We don't need that. So the next thing that Spirit is saying is coming your way is blessings. And how do we take blessings? How do we know when they're there? Because it's not always like a big miracle that happens and, ooh, I had my blessings, I won the lottery. So blessings are big and small. And the way blessings work is they need to be acknowledged. And I think that's something a lot of us forget to do, because especially living here in America, as hard as it is, like our poverty is nothing like poverty in other places where they really don't have anything to eat and there really is nothing there for them to get. Whereas we say, oh, are homeless or whatever, and they have nothing. They do have things. We do have soup kitchens. We do have people. I mean, I remember working for Dunkin' Donuts when I was a kid, and my father would deliver donuts, and the donuts, before, they used to throw them all away every so many hours. They would do a turnover thing. And my father would take all those donuts and we would go and give them to homeless people. Not that nutritious, but they enjoyed them, let me tell you, especially when there were families that were down on their luck and things like that. I think this year is going to be a year of counting your blessings, of really looking around you and seeing, okay, how have I been blessed? Was I, and really starting to appreciate who you are, the body that you're in. One of the things I had to do to really begin to deal with my chronic pain was to really accept my body as it is and start really loving my body the way it is. It's a little janky, I got things here and there, but a lot of things healed too. Right after I was in my accident, I had x-rays where I was bone on bone in my lower back. My L5 was like they wanted to solder it together or whatever, as they fuse it. They wanted to fuse, and they talked about putting a rod in my lower back. And they said, if you don't get that, you're going to be in a wheelchair by the time you're 25, because I was 19 when it happened. And I was like, no, because I used to dance. I did ballet, tap and jazz. And I'm used to being flexible. I love to dance. I love to move. And the more they were telling me not to move, the more pain I was in. So I started moving. I started doing my ballet exercises, my stretches, and, just trying to get my body back to where I could move it and do things. And a couple years after the accident, it was more than a couple. I think it was like around 5. I'm really old, so this was a long time ago. But I have other x-rays, and my lower back was perfect. It was beautiful. I was no longer bone on bone. And the doctors told me that was impossible. There must have been a mistake before, but there was no mistake. It was because I took the time to really work on my physical self and really send a loving energy and letting my body know, I know that you can do this. I refuse to be stuck in a wheelchair. I refuse to not be able to walk. I refuse to only be able to pick up 5 and 10 pounds. I refuse. So I would do things to really push myself, which went totally against what doctors told me to do. I'm not saying that that's what you need to do. But what I'm saying is you need to have faith in yourself, and you need to have faith that you can be healed and you can do more and things will be okay. And with that faith, you pull in all this energy and all these blessings, and then you're grateful for those blessings. Look at the little things that you could do. I was so excited, like once I could walk without having to wear a brace. I was so excited, not having to constantly be in a neck brace and things like that. I mean, I wore a neck brace off and on for many years because I just couldn't hold my head up. It was really difficult. So as you move forward and you do these things, and be open to finding what is going to work for you. Be open to, like, I was not open to getting acupuncture, and I was doing okay. But when I moved to Hawaii, my friend shaman Christopher bugged me until I got acupuncture from a friend of ours, Deborah Harrison. She's still on the island. She's in Kahala, the most amazing healer I've ever met. And after she worked on me one time, and I'm unusual, so I'm not saying that I can guarantee these results, but she's very intuitive in the way she does things. So she worked with my energy. And after the first time, I was awake for a while because I had so much more energy than I'd had before that. And that stuck. I went to go see her. She would fly over from the Big Island, and I would see her like once a month. And each month I got better and better. Like, it really was amazing. And I miss her terribly. And I want to go there just to get an appointment with her again, you know? She was just so amazing. So finding what works for you. Now, I've gone to other acupuncturists, and my energy is different. So they didn't work as well for me. I actually had one that after I was done, because they were not listening to me, where I was saying, I feel like the energy is doing this and that. And they were like, oh no, this is where it goes. And it just totally messed me up. So I had to go to somebody else who would listen to me in order to get rewired again. So you need to know yourself, be able to talk, find somebody who's going to work with you and help you, and then move forward from there. But it's possible. Anything is possible this year. I feel like this year we're looking at major changes. There are major breakthroughs that are going to come out. We're going to find that by the end of this year, I feel like the world is going to be a different place. And I hope that for most of us, if not all of us, that this is a better place, that it's a more loving, more supportive place, and that we move forward in that way. So the third card is serenity. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I think that's really important, because when we keep trying to roll that boulder uphill, instead of just, I don't know, rolling it around the hill, or when we're trying to do it by ourselves, it creates so much stress in our lives that we don't need. So what we want to do is practice serenity, practice presence, practice your breathing, and practice really pulling in and calling in the light, because that's what we all really need this year, especially after 2024. I don't know about you guys, but 2024 was rough. It started off really horrible and never got much better all year. I lost a lot of people, and I feel like there was so much stress. Like here in America, we were doing the election, and that is always So stressful. And it's always terrible. And it was just as terrible, if not worse. I can honestly say that the last, say, 4 elections have been really difficult, and they've gotten worse each time. But I'm really happy that this election is over. It's over. Now we need to get on with it. Get on with the changes and start doing things that need to be done in a rational way. This deck, when I bought this deck, it was only the deck itself, and it's a fairly small deck. It came with a book, but mine didn't come with a book. I didn't know there was a book, so I wrote a book for it. I don't know where it is. It's probably somewhere on my computer somewhere. But I bought this, I'm trying to think, probably 95 maybe. So this too, I don't know if they make them anymore. But they're basically hieroglyphics. Haha. The Ankh, the symbol of life, the symbol of protection, the symbol of moving forward. The Ankh is a very powerful symbol. If you know anything about Egyptian mythology, or you look at the carvings and the hieroglyphics, the Ankh is used often, and it's carried by all the excuse me, all the different gods and goddesses will carry the Ankh. So, and the number is a 24. Isn't that funny? Since we're moving out of 24. But 24 is about having an emotional stability, like setting your standard, like knowing what your baseline is. And 24 becomes a 6. And 6 is about creativity. It's about art. It's about beauty. And it's about love. So the Ankh is telling us, again, to move forward with love in our hearts. If we answer every question with love in our hearts, we will always find the right answer. Now, does that mean that you're blinded by love and you're not using your sense, your common sense, or your intuition? Your love is intricately bound with your intuition. The problem is that in our society, oftentimes we pull it apart and we make it like it's something separate. It's not. So you can love somebody and feel like this amazing physical attraction and them not be right for you. And you will feel that in your intuition, so that they kind of will juxtapose one another. You could still love that person and want to help them or whatnot, but your intuition will tell you how close to get or not get. And you really need to start listening to that, because they can work together. They do work together. All right. And the second is Anubis or Anubis. I think most people say Anubis. I always pronounce things differently. So Anubis is one of the gods of the dead. He is one of the gods that takes you, so that they weigh your heart against a feather. The feather is Mot, and Mot is truth. So we were talking earlier about being authentic, and Anubis or Anubis tells us authenticity is the key. We really need to be authentic and be true to ourselves and our soul as we move forward, in order to really make the most of this lifetime, to help the most people around us, and to be most helpful to ourselves also, because we want our greater good as well as everyone's greatest good, if that's possible, whenever that's possible. So Anubis is a 9, which again is interesting because 2025 is a 9 year. And 9 is a time of completion. So we're ending something and then moving on to the next series, the next dimension, the next round. However you want to look at it, it's a time of completion. It's a time to move on. And it's a time to really look at what has happened up until this point. What is it that we can take forward with us? What is it that we need to move forward in the best way? Okay. All right. So that's that one. So I think that's all I'm going to do with the decks, unless you guys have questions or you saw a deck and you wanted me to pull a card for you. So the decks we had was Angel Secrets. We had Soul Coaching. We had Angel Heart Sigils. We had Attitude Adjustments. And we had the Egyptian Hieroglyphics and Healing with Your Angels. So if you guys want me to use any of those to do a quick reading for you, or if you just have a question you want to ask, feel free. Now is the time. Is this reading for the ones watching or the whole planet? The whole planet, but I do feel like the people who are watching and who are going to watch this will get more out of it. More special. I don't know if you could see her. My cat is right here. She's between me and the, and the camera. So I may have to, look over her as well. My cats are really spoiled. Do you want me to look specifically to see where you're at, Miguel? I also have the Golden Dawn Magical Tarot here. So I'll pull a card specifically for you. But I feel like you this year are going to be able to break free from a lot of things. Like things are going to really open up for you financially and otherwise. And I feel like the things that you have been working on are finally going to come to fruition this year. I feel like a lot of that is happening right now. And I don't know. No. All right, let me do this. You're going to make everything full. Sorry about that. When the kitten wants attention, she gets attention. Let me say, hey, look, say hi. Say hi. What? Oh, yeah, I love you. This is my kitten. Her name is Gabby. Lance named her Gabby Ghoul. Gabagool. All right, baby. She's very cuddly and needy. She would probably knock these out of my hands. What are you doing? I know. Mom's been on the phone a while. I know. I'll be right with you, baby. Okay. Is this the one you want? Oh, okay. All right. So you have the Magician and the Moon. The Moon came up first and then the Magician. So what that tells me is that during the first part of the year, as we're moving forward, what you're going to be dealing with is a lot of disillusionment. You're going to be finding out things, like things are going to become more clear. You're going to have the answers that you've been looking for. And as that happens and you move forward, you just deal with each thing as it comes up, and you move forward with it, and you are able to make the most of it. Like you're going to take the information. There's going to be things that you could do with it in order to clear things up. Then the second half of the year, you're going to go into the Magician. And what the Magician, where are you that you have fuzz all over you? The Magician is about finding balance and also coming into your own. So finally coming to the place where you're at your, I don't want to say at your peak, but you're finding your place. And you're knowing how to make use of it. Things are coming together. I feel like this year is a year of things coming together for you. And I do feel like a lot of things you're working towards and you're working with, you're going to find a way to complete those things and to get it out there. So this year into next is when you'll start really getting things out there. Hi, sweetie. I'm a new subscriber and want to know if I can ask a yes or no, please. Sure, you can ask a yes or no. Dwayne, is that how you pronounce your name? Dwayne Blake. Hi. I'm sorry, my cat is she just at a certain time she's like, all right, Mom, it's time to get off the phone and just play with me. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, good. I'm glad I pronounced that correctly. All right. Do you want to write your question or do you just want to think your question? You need to get out of the way. I can't see it. Thank you. The first thing I get is a no. It feels like this is something that was very important in your life, but it also feels like something that it's giving you whatever it's supposed to give you. So the next step would be to appreciate that. Oh my God, yes. To appreciate whatever it is you got out of it and then move forward, because you're about to start a different part of your life where I feel like things wouldn't be as, it would hold you back. I want to say, not that she would try to or anything like that, but just that energetically you're moving forward. You're going in a different direction right now. And that is what's really going to lift you up and make you go in to the best. Aww. I'm not saying that she doesn't want to get back together. I'm just saying that I don't feel like it happens. Because I got to know. So, but that's hard. I mean, that's a long time to be with someone. Hi, Elmira. How are you? I'm being accosted by my kitten. My very large kitten. She'll be 2 in February. Say hi, look. You want to look in here? Look. Look, baby, look. Say hi to everybody. Hello. Yes. So if you need any other help, just let me know. You could, find me on here. Yeah, her name is Gabagool. We got her in June. And to her grown. Oh, God bless. Yeah. Oh boy. See, like she won't let me take my hand off her immediately. She's like, give me the hand back. I need to be touched. Ooh. Okay. All right. I hope that's helpful for you, Dwayne. So, I feel that she does. But I feel like she's not really, I don't know, you're not on the same page anymore. Oh, you are welcome, Michael. How will your business develop this year? Let's do a card or two on that, just to have some fun. You better not knock anything over, Missy. Yeah, what are you doing? Good girl. Just sit. Be good. Be good. Yes. I mean, you guys are really tied to one another. But I think that whole situation deserves a longer conversation. So if you want to connect with me for a reading, I also do couples counseling, if that would be helpful. And you could find me on YouTube. My email address and everything is there. or you can go to my website. So, yes, and mention that you saw me on here and I'll give you a special discount. So don't let the prices scare you. Okay? All right. Thank you, Dwayne. You have a wonderful new year. Okay. All right, Elmira. Thank you. All right. Oh, the cat must know we have to get serious now because she finally got down. Interesting. Okay, so you were asking about business. So a couple of things came up. So the first thing that came up was Seven of Cups, which is illusionary success. So what that says to me is that it's something where you feel like you're doing better than you actually are, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but Spirit is saying to be careful with your money, because it feels like things happen in fits and starts. And then, thank you, Dwayne. You just want to be careful, because I feel like in the beginning of the year, like things seem like they're going well, and then something all of a sudden like backtracks, and then it gets better again. So I feel like by the end of the year that you do have material success, and that you're in a place where your business has grown to a point where you feel confident in it and you feel better about the money that you're making and what you're doing moving forward. So then the third card you got was the Prince of Cups, which is interesting because you got two cups, and usually I've been doing only two cards, so the fact that three popped out for you is awesome. The fact that you got two cups and they're like bookenders, it tells me that the emotional side of things is the more important side of things. So it's more important that you're enjoying what you're doing, that you're getting fulfillment out of it, that you're being authentic in the way you like to do things and moving forward in that way. And I feel like there are obstacles that keep pushing you backwards. Like you get to a certain place, and then these obstacles keep pushing you backwards. Like, and Spirit's saying, just be authentic and keep moving forward, and things will go well. With the Prince of Cups, it's again about balance, but it's also about finding the unexpected emotionally. And I don't feel like that's in a bad way. I feel like it's about moving forward, deepening relationships, and becoming more balanced in your relationships, and becoming more fulfilled. So I feel like this year is going to be really a big year and a major year of change. And as things morph and become more of what you want them to be, have an idea in your head as to what you're shooting for. I have a feeling that you're fairly business savvy, so you kind of already do. But Spirit is saying, like, if you can create that energy around you, it makes it easier for Spirit to bring to you what you want and what you need. And it's about harmony. It's about having harmony within yourself, and when you have it within yourself, then it comes out from around you. It emanates from you to everyone around you and what is around you. So it's creating a space and a vibration of this very maternal, very soothing energy that is, it's really going to help you as you move forward. So it's about harmony, and it's also about being really creative. So the material success comes more when you're being very creative with the way you're marketing yourself, the way you're doing things, and just your whole personality tends to be more creative. So you're going to want to start, looking at the way you're doing things and figure out if there are ways to do things that better suit your personality. And that will be helpful. So I feel like it's going to be a much better business year for you this year. And especially for whatever reason, for a lot of people, I keep feeling like we just have to make it past March. Like as we pass March, as we move into the springtime in the Northern Hemisphere, I feel like things really blossom. Like things really start getting better. We all feel it. We all feel the difference in the air and the difference around us. So that's what I feel. I hope that helped. Hopefully. And if you need anything else, feel free to, contact me, schedule something. I am online. I am rebuilding my website. So if you have any problem going to my website because it says it's not secure and this, that, and the other thing, I do have a security certificate on it, but for whatever reason, it's not hitting properly with some of the search engines. So you could just move past that. There's nothing on my site. You're not putting in any personal information or anything. I mean, the most you're going to do is give me your email address, because with all my payments, they're going either through PayPal or through Square. So that doesn't really make a difference. You are welcome. So if anybody else has a question, before I totally lose my voice, since it's deciding to play games here. Okay. So let's take a minute and just take a few deep breaths together so that we get more into the mood of the coming year, and so that we can slow down and look at what's around us and what it is that we want to carry forward. Tomorrow night, I do intend to do a little ceremony. I might pull some cards again and do something like that. It will be live on YouTube again. So if you want to join me tomorrow, I'm not sure what time. Usually when I do these things, I do them a little bit later in the evening. It might be a little bit earlier tomorrow because I do have, I'm taking a friend of mine to the airport very early in the morning. So I'm not going to be able to do my usual way. Or I might just go to sleep early and then wake up at midnight and just stay up all night. I've done that before, although the last time I did, I was probably in my 20s, a little while ago. So, all right. If you want to take a moment to relax and just take a deep breath, hold it, and release it slowly. And again. And release it slowly. We're breathing in the future. And we're breathing out the past. Breathing in the future. And breathing out the past. Relax. Enjoy. And have a great New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and 2025. I hope to see you tomorrow. Mahalo. I have no idea how to end this, so you might see me like, like, what is happening? Let's see. What do these buttons do? I don't know that I want the retouch. Do I need retouch? Oh, I don't want to do that either. No, what are you doing? Okay. Stop. Done. All I want to do is get out of here. So I have no idea. Okay. Where is I need to get off this machine. What is happening? Okay. This? No. No. This? No. How do I stop this? Somebody give me a clue. I haven't done this before. Let's see. Maybe just this? I don't know. But if I lose you guys, mahalo. Oh, there we go. I found it. Bye-bye.